What's up YouTube and welcome back to this video. I want to make it again, so to speak, because I have talked about when I got diagnosed with testicular cancer, but the video wasn't really good. I did it while playing a game, so I thought that I would delete it and make this and then put basically voice over gameplay instead. So let's get into it. The first sort of chapter that I put in is finding out yourself. Like, excuse me. Basically, how I found out. And I was sitting around or laying around, and I had for a good couple of weeks, I think, maybe a week or two, I had felt that my testicles had been heavy. The pouch had been heavy, and that is kind of a warning sign. But then I started to feel around, and I found out or could feel that it was twice, if not three times, this normal size, which again is very much a warning sign. I asked my girlfriend to basically take a look, and she agreed with me that it was bad and I should at least get it checked out. I went to my own doctor about, I think, a little under a week later. Um, that was when he had a time for me, and he then had a feel, and he said, "Yeah, there's reason for to be concerned." At least he was a little bit concerned, so he called the hospital, and he basically said you need to be there tomorrow at, I think, around 10 o'clock. I can't remember exactly when it was, to get an ultrasound done. I was like, okay. So I basically leave with the thought in mind that I might have cancer, testicular cancer at least. Well, cancer is cancer, isn't it? So I leave with the thought that I might have cancer. I go back to school, and before I even get set up, I I get this feeling that I have to leave. I have to get out of here. I I couldn't stay. I couldn't focus, and so I walked home before I left school because I didn't have any money on my phone. I couldn't call anybody, so I used the Wi-Fi to text my mom via Facebook, and basically texted her, "Please give me a call. It's urgent." Uh, about 5 or so minutes later, if that, she calls me and like, "What's up?" And I of course tell her that I first ask her what are you doing tomorrow, and she's like, "I don't." Something Christmassy. I might add, this is I got diagnosed with testicular cancer around mid-December. Um, Anyhow, my mom is basically saying uh, something with the colleagues Christmas thing, and she's like, "But why?" I said, "Well, I need you to drive me to the hospital tomorrow." And she's like, "Well, I can't because of this." And she's like, "Why do you need to go to the hospital?" And I was like, "Well, I may have cancer." And she's like, basically, she didn't say it, but she basically kind of said, "Shut up." Like, no way. And I said, "Yeah, I may have testicular cancer." And she's like, "Well, I'll cancel my plans and I'll drive." I was like, "Okay, I have that covered." So I get home, I text my girlfriend, and I go to bed. Then when I wake up the next morning, wait for my mom, of course. I basically tell my friends in school that um, due to me potentially having cancer, I am not coming in to school. And they were like, sure, you do you, we do us, and just get better, then get this figured out. We get to the hospital, and I get this scan done, and the woman who's performing the scan on me isn't from Denmark, and her accent is very hard to understand what she's saying. But she did her best, and I managed as best as I could. And she didn't really tell me anything about the scan. She was like, "Okay, you've been here. Now you need to go to there." And I go there, and they they come in. Or we sit in the waiting room, and then this woman comes with this cart with a lot of tubes in it, and basically says, "We need some blood." And they, I had blood work done, and I sit and wait. And the doctor who is supposed to see me is running around busy as hell. And she's like, I just need to go down to the operating room to do something. I can't remember what it was. And then I'll hopefully be with you. Excuse me. I think we waited in total about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Excuse me. And then she comes and she's like, yeah, um, would you like your mom to come with you into the room? And at that point, I kind of got this feeling like, okay, this is not good news. Like it can't be good news if she wants both of us. We walk in, and again, this doctor, I think she was from Germany. Her accent sounded like it. Then she basically starts talking about, I think, the scan and blood work, and somehow my mom figures it out before me. It sort of clicks for me at around the same time it clicked for my mom, and it's like getting. I'd rather get beaten up, I think, than get that message. Um, so my mom asks the question, so that's gonna be removed surgically, and they were like, yeah, and my mom said, so he's gonna be like under sleeping, like totally out. And she was like, yeah. And at that point, I freaked out because I've never had anything like I've never had surgery before, so that freaked me out. Actually, more than the fact that I had cancer. They then prepped me. They asked, when do you want it done? We have 2 days for you. Um, this coming Friday or I think it was the Tuesday after. And I said, just give me Friday. And like, good. Then we'll prep you now, or get you up to speed with what's gonna happen and so on and so on. And it's gonna be tomorrow, Friday morning at what was it like? I needed to be there at like 6:30 in the morning, and they basically just all the paperwork needs to get done. I talked to the anesthesiologist, I think it's called, and they basically asked me questions. Do you smoke? Do you take any medication? How tall are you? How much do you weigh? That sort of thing. I get everything done that I need, so that the only thing that I had to do when I showed up on Friday was show up, essentially. Um, then the Friday comes, and I get there. I'm nervous as shit. I can I didn't really sleep much, and my mom picks me up. We get there. Uh, I agree with my mom that when they wheel me down to the operating room, she would drive back to get my girlfriend so she could be there when I wake up. When I got there to the room, to the sort of, yeah, the room where my bed was and all that, they had me change into essentially hospital clothes. I had to take my temperature, and they gave me some pain medication. Now, I wasn't in pain, but I was told that's for after the operation. So that kind of helps, I think. I don't know. I don't remember. At least not 100%. Then um, it's basic. You get these like tights, I call them, on these tight socks that basically goes on your leg. And from what I remember, it's so that it helps you not get blood clot blood clots. I think it's called. I can't remember all these English words. And then you put that on, you lay in bed and basically wait. And I think we waited 45 minutes, an hour or so, and then they get ready to wheel me down. I say goodbye to my mom, and I talk to the guy a little bit um, who wheeled me down to the operating room, and he was actually a really cool guy. If I remember correctly, he was actually a former military man or police. I can't remember. One of those two. He was actually really, really cool. He asked why. I think he asked why I was there and what I needed done, and we then got to the operating room, the surgical suite, and he basically just went in and said, "Well, the patient is here," and I walked in. I laid down. Um, they put the needle in my veins on my hand, and I talked to the anesthesiologist who were up near my head. She was a really comforting person. She really helped me not freak out, like not fall asleep in a state of panic or fear or any of those uh, states, mental states, I guess you could call it. She was really good, and the last thing I remember before I fell asleep was I felt good. Like I wasn't scared. I wasn't anything. I was just like ready to fucking sleep. um, and like kudos to the people who were in charge of my surgery. They were all absolutely amazing. They did a really great job, and I couldn't have asked for a better crew. I then tell her, well, I can feel it. Well, she asked me to tell her. I said I can feel it. It's sort of like, oh, how can you when some like it feels like somebody is compressing your arm, like it's sort of tightening up. I guess you could say. Um, and she's like, oh, okay. Um, and then she started to sort of talk to me like if I were wanted to be anywhere else that would make me feel good, where would that be? And I said, well, I want to be with my family and sit with my basically my entire family, have dinner, eat some good food, have something good to drink, and just relax and chill with my family. And that's about the last thing I remember. I remember closing my eyes and just being out. I wake up being, of course, tired, but that's due to the drugs. I wasn't in that much pain, even though they did ask if I wanted some morphine, which I declined uh, because I wasn't in pain, so I couldn't see a reason to to get a morphine injection. Um, I did get just standard pain medication, and it helped good. It was fine. I didn't need anything more than that. Um, my mom and my girlfriend comes to see me after I wake up, and as basically, to say hi and how everything went, and everything went absolutely fine. They then wheel me up to the room, my room, and I basically have to wait for for the doctor to come and talk to me. Um, During this time, they of course they now I can eat and I can drink, and I asked for something to drink, and I got a little bit to eat, and then I went out to pee. uh, I went out, I did my business, and on my way back, and just keep in mind I am walking slowly because I just had surgery, and then I am like very close to passing out. And that freaked me out right in the moment because I was halfway between the toilet and my bed. So I was like, should I just go for the bed or should I just run back or quote unquote run back to the toilet and sit down? I sort of chose a halfway mark. I got to the sink and I held on to, oh, I think I even reached the toilet. I can't remember. Just got to the sink to just like get a grip and not pass out. And then I got back, I laid down and waited. My girlfriend and my mom, I think, were out eating or shopping or something. I can't remember. And they came back and talked to me, and then the doctor finally came, I think, after like 4 or 5 hours, 4 or 5 hours, I think. And he said everything is fine, everything looked good. We did remove your right testicle. I was like, fine, that's that's fine. In regards to the other one, um, for those of you that don't know, where if they find cancer on one testicle, they take a tiny, tiny sample of the other testicle just to see, just to be make sure. And he said everything looks fine, nothing to worry about. It should all be, you know, gone. And I was like, thank God. And I was free to walk home, or not walk home, but I was free to go home. And I was like, good. I really want to go home now. Um, I then pack up. I get out of this awful hospital clothes, get into my own clothes, and then I basically go. And it's now we are in basically the recovery part of the whole ordeal. I get to recover. Was told to stay in bed, not move around too much, not lift anything that is too heavy. And I recover, and then I had to go back to the hospital for a checkup, or what I at least thought would just be the start of this whole process of just going to the hospital every 2 months or every 6 months or whatever. It turns out there was more bad news. We get there, the doctor asks me, do you know why you are here or what we are going to talk about? And I said, well, the doctor at the other hospital told me that everything was fine. So, you know, I thought that we were just going to talk about, I thought that we were just going to talk about the follow ups. He was like, no, that's not why we are here. It turns out that on a microscopic level, there are uh, early stages of cancer on my left testicle, and they wanted me to get radiation treatment 8 times, and I was like, okay, well, fuck you too then. um, but I basically just roll with the punches. They have said to me, uh, after the treatment is done, this radiation treatment, you will not be able to have kids, and that's a fact. They of course say never, but the chances are slim to none. So I went to the fertility clinic and deposited a sample, so to speak. I did that before, right before the I had surgery. There was nothing in it, and they basically said the same thing again, nothing in it. And I was like, okay, let's just get this done. So it was 8 days straight, uh, besides weekends, for some reason. Uh, and my mom was the champ. She drove almost every day. My sister drove, I think, for 2 of the days, and my mom drove the rest of the days. And we get there, uh, and before you get to the treatment, they want to sort of mm, X marks the spot, so to speak. They want to mark up where the accelerator is going to be hitting you with treatment, so to speak, which is very uncomfortable because I had 4 people standing over my crotch looking at it, and that's not really comfortable at all. But it is what it is. It needed to be done. I then, after that, I was done. We went home, and they were basically ready for me. So after those 8 treatments, it's basically you get in, you take off your bottom. I was about to say you take off your pants and your underwear and you walk in, and they do what they need to do, and for about the treatment lasts, I think, 30 seconds, and then you can go home again. And that was fine. Did that for 8 days, and then we basically had to wait because it all had to work its magic. So, and we go home. We sort of celebrate. My mom and I, we celebrate the fact that it was the last day with radiation treatment, and so we got something to eat, and just talked about it. How did it feel? Was anything red or swollen? And I could feel a little bit, but not much. And then we get a call back, I think about a month later. And then we get there, and the doctor, like right off the bat, he's like, everything looks great. You are basically, you are back to normal again, as much as you can be. And I was like, I was just, oh, thank fuck for that, because to me, the most stressful thing about it all was not the fact that I had it. I don't. Maybe it is. It was more the psychologic, the mental state you get. It is so. It's the waiting around. It's the treatment. It's, I guess it's the entire thing. And keep in mind, I had it easy. Out of all of the types of cancers I could have gotten, I got the one that was the easiest to fight, the easiest to beat. it hadn't spread to anything other than, my nether region. And I'm lucky for that. I count myself lucky. Today it's 2 or so months since last. Yeah, I think so. About 2 months has passed since my last radiation treatment, and I'm cancer free at this point, and I'm happy for that, of course. When I think back to my experience at the hospital and the surgery and all of that, it was quite an adventure, so to speak, and that was what I saw it as, an adventure. I now need to figure out what I want to do, which I kind of have, and life needs to sort of start over for me. And I'm doing fine. Uh, I am going to my first real checkup in about a month, and then everything should just be like that from from now on. Until they basically say we can't find anything more, you're probably not gonna have it again. Goodbye, never come back. That was basically my uh, quote unquote quick little story of me having testicular cancer, how it sort of all were with the operation and so on and so on. Should you have watched this video all the way to the end, I thank you very, very much. Should you like it, leave a like rating. If you dislike it, of course, do that too. Subscribe to my channel, which would help me out a lot. I hope you learned something. I think I may put out a video about what to look out for when it comes to cancer, at least testicular cancer. If you are in doubt, go to your local doctor and get it checked out because, guys, there are men who die from this bloody fucking disease because they don't go to the doctor early enough. So if you are in doubt, get checked out. When in doubt, get checked out. And I guess I will see you guys next time. Remember to enjoy life. That's my motto. Enjoy it before it is too late. Have a good one.